Hello, it is I, your host, Cinema Kane, back for the first review of the new year. And kind of funny because our last review of last year was about a film about an aspiring filmmaker. And same thing. Except you might say this filmmaker, somewhat more notably, is a household name to most people. I'm talking about Steven Spielberg's mostly autobiographical film, The Fabelmans. Where to begin with this one? I thoroughly enjoyed this movie in the theater. I absolutely had a blast with it. The characters are relatable. The idea about a boy discovering his passion for something and being pushed by one parent in one direction and being pushed and or pulled, I guess probably is a better analogy, by a parent in another direction. It's such a great movie about, passion. I know I keep saying that word, but it's true. You think about the films of Steven Spielberg, and there's not a single film he's ever made, in my opinion, that felt phoned in, like, oh, he only did half the work or something. No, every movie that man's ever made that I've seen has always felt like he put 100%, 110% of his heart and soul into it. As a result, I find myself watching The Fabelmans through two lenses. The lens of a fan of Steven Spielberg and the lens of someone who has grown up and seen similarities within my own family or within friends' families to the family presented on screen. The biggest difference, of course, being that this is actually based on Spielberg's family. And so as a result, I feel like as a fan, someone who has looked at the family units within the films he's created, you find yourself looking at his family and comparing his family to the families within his own films. Most of the films he's made, with the exception of things like Close Encounters or E.T., have been about found families, friends within families. Or, in the case of, let's say, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, it's about a estranged family. This movie, to me, puts into context a lot of who you know Steven Spielberg to be. I've been a longtime fan of Spielberg's, obviously. I'm sure most of you watching this have probably got at least that one Spielberg movie you watch at least once a year. I have several. But he did make me believe when I was 9 years old that dinosaurs were indeed back. And I remember watching Jurassic Park twice that summer. It was the first time I ever saw a movie twice on the big screen. And because of that fact, because of what Jurassic Park and Indiana Jones and Close Encounters mean to me, knowing more about the man who created those things that I love has only made me appreciate him as both a person and a filmmaker even more. The performances in this movie are so good. The writing, the directing, the music by John Williams, of course. All of it. Absolutely phenomenal. And the performances are enhanced, I think, by the fact that they're not some larger-than-life figure that everyone knows about. This is not, Lincoln. This is not some historical figure, kind of blanking. But my point is, these are not people who are known to the world at large. These are people Steven Spielberg knew personally. And as a result, while they are based on real people, the performances seem so grounded in reality that you find yourself going, well, while I didn't know this person, I knew a person like this that's a lot like this, and as a result, I can relate to it. I can't say enough good things about the Fabelmans. As a fan of Steven Spielberg's, as a fan of the process of making movies and wanting to know as much as I can about how a movie is made, it's so interesting to go behind the curtain of one of my favorite filmmakers. And I can't thank Steven Spielberg enough for inviting me into his family's home movies and into his life. And thank you for the Fabelmans, Mr. Spielberg. I doubt you'll ever see this, but if you do, know that I thoroughly enjoyed your movie and I enjoyed learning about your family. I'm Cinema Kane. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Fabelmans, and I'll see you at the video store. Cinema Kane here, reminding you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, think about clicking that bell notification so you know every time Cinema Kane has a new video uploaded. Share it on all your social media platforms, and I'll see you next time at the video store.